To all of the shy guys out there, how did you get a girlfriend? Tinder. We got coffee, walked around Goodwill, and made out in the back of her car on the first date. Couple of weeks later and we're in love. It's been 2 years now. No regrets. My current boyfriend is as shy as they come. He won me over by approaching me at a college mixer, and just smiling and nodding while I blabbered on and on about the James A. Garfield assassination. Sometimes listening is all you need. Smiley face. She called me to wish me for my birthday and asked if we could hang out to talk. She confessed she's been in love with me for the better part of a year. It's been 3 months since then. I felt the connection instantly. It almost scared me. I couldn't believe good chemistry could be this good. So yeah, I guess I hit a jackpot, is the answer. Well, my last girlfriend was a friend I had a crush on. We were playing the dot game, which is where you try to tap the other person's nose and say dot. It leads to a lot of wrestling if you're playing on a couch. I had her pinned down and we were both laughing. Then I just kissed her. Lucky for me. She was thinking just kiss me already or else that would have been bad. If you're at the dot game stage, kissing is almost guaranteed. After drinking 2 bottles of wine I was talked, against my better judgment, into going to an event at a club with 2 friends. There I met a beautiful and smiley girl who one of them knew from elsewhere. During the sobering up period I remembered I disliked people in clubs, so I retreated to the 24-hour cafe lounge place across the street and drank tea, where friends and accompanying beautiful smiley girl eventually joined me. She and I talked, and it was great. She wasn't difficult to talk to like everyone else. When we all went our separate ways, we hugged and agreed we should definitely see each other again. After that we spoke on Facebook, but didn't see each other again for like 3 or 4 months, until she said she was coincidentally coming to meet friends near where I live and that this would be a good opportunity to meet up. I later learned these friends were a ruse. We met at a pub and talked for ages about lots of our favorite things. I asked if she wanted to come stay at my house, and we've been together the approximately 2 years since. We live together and she's asleep next to me right now, and is by far the best thing to ever happen to me. I'd never been with anyone before her and was beginning to give up hope. It wasn't easy. We used to work together and for 3 months I was asking people at work if the girl I was interested in was single. Asked 3 people and never got an answer. Asked my best friend who also worked there at the time and he told me she didn't. Took me another month to ask her. My friend kept asking if I had asked her out yet. I had it all planned out. I had a vacation coming up. She worked the Monday night. I went up right before close and bought some shit I really didn't need but used it as an excuse. I stayed after and talked to my friend who helped me out. After a while I started half-ass making conversation, acting like I was looking at the schedule, even though it didn't matter to me since I wasn't working. I felt the lump in my throat growing and growing. I knew if I didn't ask I probably never would. I felt like my nervousness was showing and she was probably wondering what this weirdo was doing just creeping around her. I finally got the balls to straight up ask her if she wanted to go to dinner. She looked kinda freaked out and I immediately started to panic. Then she did with a smile, yes. I couldn't believe it. But instead of keeping it inside I said really. Still hate myself for that. But I never let her live down her answer. Why not? She didn't realize it at that time. But that night is quite possibly what saved me. That was 2 years ago and we just got married this past May. Don't regret a single moment of it. Bonus. My friend didn't know that I asked her out that night. And she didn't know at the time but I gave him a loud ass high five on the way out. Told them both about it about a month after. Asked her out over MySpace. MySpace. She inexplicably said yes, and we've been together since. Well, MySpace was a thing. I didn't get her. She got me. She went up to me and said you're my boyfriend now and since I'm too shy to say yes or no, I went with it. We have been dating for 6 years now. Kindergarten. She made the first move. The Sicilian defense. An excellent choice. I went through a 2-year period where I became pretty normal. I met her and got married during that time. I was sociable for some reason I don't understand. After we got married I kind of went back to my old self. This answer is probably not much help. I'm awkward as hell and I just told dumb jokes to make her laugh. I was always there for her and we went out on a date up to a lake and just talked most of the night. We've been dating ever since. So my advice is just be yourself. She made me so much more confident in myself and the past year and a half has flown by. When I was 19, One of my extrovert friends hooked me up with another introvert I never would have met otherwise. We started off exchanging emails. We lived 200 miles apart. This was in 2005, before smartphones with video chat, before video chat was really even a thing. I had no idea what she even looked like. Our 8th anniversary is Monday, and we're taking the kids to dinner and a movie to celebrate. Did you find out how she looks like? We're still too shy to look. Oh man, it was my first day in my math class. I saw this really pretty curly-haired girl. She caught my eye and I sat close to her. The teacher ended up being horrible student teacher, so she would ask for help to explain stuff and I would too after following her lead. Eventually a group of us were confused enough we made a study group and I still remember how happy I was when I got her number to make plans to study and look over the stuff the teacher didn't explain good enough. I ended up transferring out of the class because the teacher really was horrible. But we stayed in touch. One night she had a horrible pain and her roommate had plans elsewhere, so I took her to the hospital instead of studying. And we bonded on a whole other level. It was like I'd known her for years. Like she was instantly my new best friend. And then we just fell for each other after all the inside jokes and daily help we'd give each other. I know I got really lucky, but it made up for years of bad luck. Answer thousands of personal ads and eventually you'll get lucky. Those ones next to the videos. So there are single Asian women near me? For me, the trick was to be cool with being alone. I found my happiness, worked on improving myself, and eventually women started noticing me. There is definitely something to the confidence as sexy thing. I guess my advice is, live your life and don't obsess about being single. Also, going to the gym helps because the better you think you look, the more confidence you project. I'm a guitar player. They just walk up to me and start talking. That's why I play guitar. That's why we all play. I played the long con. Knew her for like 7 years. Visited her on a job interview late November. Moved up to her like 2 weeks later. And married in March. That was 2.5 years ago. And now we have a 6-week-old daughter. It's been a busy few years. My boyfriend is more introverted than shy. He and my brother worked together and my brother asked him to help move a big piece of furniture. He stayed for dinner. We talked and then I asked him out. He's held on to me tight ever since. 3. Basically he did someone a favor and got dinner and a girlfriend out of it. Basically you did all the work and he's lucky. A little bit of alcohol helps me become a bit more social. So that helps. She apparently hit on me. A lot. And eventually got mad and was like, do you just not like me or what? I eventually stammered out an apology and asked her to hang out for Xmas. We've tolerated each other for 6 years this Xmas. And eventually got mad and was like, do you just not like me or what? I eventually stammered out an apology. I didn't realize anime protagonists existed in real life. Stands ready with notepad. I wear a fake cast and trick them into helping me load stuff into my van. He just stared at me a lot, and then I made the first move. I dated for very short periods of time on and off during college, but never anything that lasted more than a few weeks, and usually only 1 or 2 dates that went nowhere. This happened once I was out of college. Her best friend and my best friend got married. Her friend, the bride, sat us at the same table. I actually moved to another table because all my friends were sitting there. Halfway through dinner the bride waves me over and asks why I moved. I told her, and she said, but I'm trying to get you to meet that redhead at the original table. Would have been nice to know that, so I went back to the table and we chatted, but it didn't really go anywhere. Then a couple months later I was having a party, and her friend invited her without me knowing. Told me she was coming just a few minutes before she arrived. Cue me freaking out but also composing myself. Ended up talking with her for like 4 hours and asked her on a date. Things went well from there and we've been married 8 years this Tuesday. My only piece of dating advice is to order steak. Always have an extra piece cut and ready to go. Any awkward questions come up, you pop that in your mouth. Gives you a little time to think about your answers. Was sitting in second day of bio class in college. Class had 100 plus students in it. I liked to get there early to reserve my seat. Was a very shy guy and my row was always empty except me, which I didn't mind at all. Anyways, I was sitting there and I look over at the far door to watch the students pile in. A girl, obviously on the tennis team, walks in. 10 out of 10. I look at her. She looks at me. I look away because I didn't want to be awkward. Next thing I know, She's right next to me and asks if the seat next to me is taken. It isn't. She sits down. I don't know what to do, but I have to do something. Look over and say, I'm Bones Aparte. What's your name? And put my hand out. Immediately regret the decision because maybe a handshake is too formal. She awkwardly shakes it and gives me her name. I ask how long she's been playing tennis. She doesn't. She's on the golf team, not the tennis team. Feel like a dumbass but keep trying. She asks a couple of questions about me. I had just got back from living in France for a couple of years. I'm half French and tell her. She's impressed and asks me to say a couple things in French. More impressed. Class starts. She mentions how she'll need a study buddy to get through this. I catch on. Tell her we should make a study group. She's all for it. I get her number to set the group up. Class ends. We go our separate ways. Next day of bio. I get to class a little later than usual. Walk in. She's in her old spot. She saved my spot. I'm on cloud 9 and never miss a day of bio. We start studying together before exams. Then we start studying together every day. I have a car. I take her out to eat every now and then. She invites me hiking a month later. Just me and her. We go up the mountain to a spot that overlooks the city. She plays my favorite song by Blues Traveler. That's when I fall in love. Ask her out on the hike down. She says yes. First kiss. 2 years later we're still together. First one. She ended up liking me for some reason, and it was pretty obvious. She ended up confessing first. So yay me. For a while. Then not so yay. Second one. Tinder. Grab it because I don't go out at all. And there's no other way for me to really meet people. First person I swipe is essentially a clone of me. Just female. Instant hookup. A couple days later decide we're dating. Yay for me. At least for now. We'll see how things go.